and it promoted Hugh Barter, race winner in Portimao, from 11th up to 10th. So Hugh Barter claiming that final point in the end. Julian finishing 11th. Interpruvasac, as I said, had a disappointing qualifying, started 11th, had an off on the opening lap, and dropped him down to 16th, and he was only able to improve up to 12th. And it must be noted, much of yesterday's race was behind a safety car with a couple of significant incidents on the opening lap, and several drivers going flying off the circuit, and it was a couple of bashes and bangs, and Sebastian Graflund was pitched into the gravel earlier on, and we had a significant three-way crash involving Max Markinchowski's, Vladislav Ryabov, not Vladislav Ryabov, he was actually his teammate, Alvaro Garcia, and Ricardo Grazia. Ricardo Grazia receiving significant damage when Garcia went over the back of him. But it does mean, of course, Pingasov, who was involved in another incident in the race, has picked up a penalty for today's race, so he starts 27th and last. We'll get to the full grid in a few moments' time. A few changes, as I did mention a few moments ago, for this weekend's round. Charlie Wirtz, as I said, in for Campos Racing. He's replacing Jesse Carrasquada Jr. And Carrasquada Jr., he received an injury in between the opening two rounds. So hopefully we will see him again soon. And best of luck and recovery to him. Wirtz, meanwhile, as I said, the son of the former F1 driver Alexander Wirtz, he is already a champion himself. He won the Formula 4 championship in the UAE at the beginning of this year. Is the Formula 4 championship in the Middle East. It basically scrambles many races into very, very few weeks in just a few circuits. He's currently competing in both the ADAC and Italian Formula 4 championships. He's currently 9th in the Italian championship, which is a category actually currently led by former Spanish F4 driver Alex Dunn. And he's 5th in the ADAC championship, having taken one podium so far. He had his podium yesterday here. He'll be hoping to improve on that. Charlie Wirtz, of course, not a championship contender by any stretch of the imagination. As it stands, he's only going to be a replacement driver, but this is more track time for him. It is more experience, and at this level, that is brutally important. A couple of other changes. Jerez are down one car this weekend. Lucas Malik tested positive for COVID, and we hope to hear he's recovering very, very well, and we hope to see him at the next round in Valencia. And in Formula de Campeones, Jorge Campos is unable to attend this weekend for personal reasons. Again, we hope to hear from him soon. This was an event last season. It was the penultimate round that was dominated very much by MP Motorsport and Delano Van Toff. It was actually the round in which Van Toff claimed the Spanish Formula 4 championship, and that MP Motorsport domination is very much continued here, with Kucharczyk winning yesterday. But Solov, who started on pole position, initially got a decent start, but then began to lose out in the first few corners and allowed Kucharczyk actually to get down the inside into turn 5 to take the lead. Solov then for a while actually dropped behind Rinicella as well, but once the race restarted after a long safety car period, that I mentioned a few moments ago, Solov pressured, this driver we see on screen now, he pressured Rinicella and eventually ducked through to take second place, pressured Kucharczyk for the race win, but wasn't able to do enough to actually take the lead. And the plaudits, the car we see on screen now, the number 26, that is Vladislav Ryabov in the GRS entry. He's starting for 14th. Now, we're looking from down on the grid. This is number 7. This is the race winner yesterday, the MP Motorsport entry of Timotheus Kucharczyk. Fantastic drive. And a matter of time, I suppose. He was very, very impressive in Portimao, taking 3 podiums.
Keep a little bit to get the rotation. Wait on the throttle until the apex or later.
As you hear, I'm just getting a few last-minute instructions from his chief mechanic on the grid. Kaczarczyk had a very good start yesterday and tailed Solov to eventually pressure him to get by. Rinnicella third on the grid today. He did drive very, very well yesterday, but unfortunately it was that time penalty that dropped him from third down to fourth, and he's lost another podium. He did challenge for podium in race one in Algarve as well, but lost out when he broke his front wing. This is George Kelstrup, who also qualified fourth yesterday, showing very, very well of late. Consistency, but maybe not threatening for the win as often as he may like. He goes from fourth on the grid in his Campos Racing entry. As we see the grid slowly but surely begin to clear. This is Kirill Smal. It's another MP Motorsport entry. You will note actually that of the top 10, 9 of the drivers is populated by MP Motorsport or Campos. The only MP or Campos non-driver in the top 10 of the grid is 7th on the grid, Gail Julian, who races for DriveX, and then he got to wait all the way to 11th place for Robert Hahn in the Monlau Motorsport entry. And this is Hugh Barter, who after a penalty yesterday for Julian was promoted up to 10th. Not the easiest weekend for Barter so far, but much better qualifying position yesterday. He started 9th yesterday, had a difficult first lap, dropped him down the order. He starts 6th today, he'll be hoping for more. This is Gail Julian again. We'll be hoping to not repeat the error of yesterday. We received a time penalty for track limits. And there's really not much left now to do. The mechanics have given their advice, their instructions, and they're all gingerly just leaving the track. All the tire mechanics, all those who prepare the car, who do the PR, who do everything else, all leaving it. It's just going to be down to the drivers. You will see the lead mechanics there one by one with their drivers, and they will peel off around the 1 minute board as well. And there was Christian Ho, 12th on the grid. He scored some minor points so far, but a relatively solid job for the rookie. Now, what I will tell you is that there have been no changes in position in the championship standings following the penalties yesterday, but just a slight change in points. Tasanopol Intrapuvazak still leads the championship despite not... Actually, no, he does not still lead the championship. That, of course, goes to Timotheus Kaczarczyk, who jumped to the lead of the championship with that win. He's on 67 points. Intrapuvazak drops down to second with 51 points, and then you got Solov on 50 and Hugh Barter on 46. Fifth in the championship is Filip Jenik on 30. But it really is those top four who seem to be gunning for the Spanish Formula 4 title in 2022 at this early stage. But that can change. This race, race 2, the shorter race of the weekend, 18 minutes plus 1 lap. And as the grid begins to pull away from the field, I will now go through the order. And it's a slow getaway there. I think that was Kelstrup, but he has got going again. The back of the grid, you got Miran Pinkasol for MP Motorsport starting 27th. 26th is Devin Nogales for Tio Martin Motorsport with Jack Michaels just alongside. 24th, the only female driver in the field this year, Lola Lovefoss for Tio Martin Motorsport with Maxim Arkanchelski 23rd. Anshul Gandhi and Ricardo Escoto is an all-cram Pinnacle row 11. They're in the 1 minute 46s. And 20th on the grid, Ricardo Grazia didn't finish yesterday, didn't even get round the end of lap 1. He'll be hoping for better today for Jerez. Starts 20th and 19th. Alvaro Garcia in the Formula Campaños entry, just behind Sebastian Gravlund for MP Motorsport. He starts 18th. He didn't finish yesterday. Again, he'll be hoping for more today. Manuel Esperanto Santo for Tio Martin Motorsport gets away from 17th, just behind Max Meyer, 16th in the Formula de Campaños entry. Suleiman Zanfari starts 15th. He showed very good pace in both practice 1 and practice 2, but didn't translate to qualifying. 14th on the grid is Vladislav Ryabov at a 1 minute 45.836, 1 second behind the pole man. He starts 14th in his GRS. Bruno de Pino, 13th on the grid for DriveX, just behind 12th position Christian Ho in the MP Motorsport entry with Robert De Haan, 11th on the grid for Monlau Motorsport. That is an affiliated entry alongside Van Amersfoort Racing. More of that later on. Rounding out the top 10 is Philip Jenik in the Campos entry, a 1 minute 45.695. Then Tessanapol Interpuvazak for MP Motorsport, 9th. Charlie Wirtz gets away 10th today. He had a podium yesterday. Charlie Wirtz gets away from 8th. He had a podium yesterday in the Campos entry. Gail Julian starts 7th for Drive X. And then Hugh Barter in the Campos Racing entry, 1 in Portimao. He starts 6th this morning. Kirill Smal, MP Motorsport in the blue, number 23 entry. He starts 5th with a 1 minute 45.403. George Kelstrup 4th on the grid. He showed well in P1 yesterday. He got 5th yesterday in the race. Then Valeria Rinacella, MP Motorsport, still looking for that podium and desperately wants that. And as we come to the front row of the grid, as the field pulls onto their grid slots, Timothy Skacacik, MP Motorsport, with a 1 minute 45.255, won yesterday's race, fastest in FP2. And then on pole position, 2 poles this weekend so far. Nikola Solov in the Campos Racing entry, 4/10 of a second he took pole position today, 5/10 of a second pole position yesterday. He was P2 yesterday. He'll be wanting that win. He won the short race in Portimao. Will he had a second win this morning as the field, and it is a big field, 27 cars pouring out of the final corner, lining up on the grid slots. And this is tricky for those at the front of the field. They've been sitting there for quite a while. And the race is about to go. In the blue on your left, Solov in the Alpine colours. In the black car, second on the grid, Kacacik. And they are away. And it is another solid start by Solov and Kacacik right there. Rinacella in 3rd place. Kelstrup just defending from Small coming into turn 5. But Small is under pressure himself from Hugh Barter. And Barter does get through to take 5th place from Small. There's the field down below, fending their way through those first few corners. Solov leads, more assured this time around. Kacacik there in 2nd place. Rinacella keeping Kelstrup at bay. Small is back ahead into 5th position. Oh, and it was one of the MP Motorsport drivers, I think, went off there. That may have been Interpuvazak. And Small once again under pressure, a lot tired there, and I do believe Gail Julian looking to make a move, but not quite finding the way through. You do not want to be destroying your tires this early on. It may only be 18 laps plus 18 minutes plus 1 lap, but when your tires are destroyed, that is a long 18 minutes. And it was Interpuvazak who went off that time, as we see the wheel-to-wheel battle there between Hugh Barter and Kirill Smal. Smal eventually winning out as the corners unraveled. Solov continues to lead ahead of Kacacik. It's a much, much calmer first lap this morning than it was yesterday. And some screeching wheels you can hear in the background as we come into the final corners. A long, lingering left-handers that really unfolds. And so it is Solov from Kacacik, from Rinacella, from Kelstrup, from Small, from Barter, Charlie Wirtz up to 7th place, Philippe Jenik 8th, Interpuvazak down to 9th, Gail Julian 10th. And we have an off, and that is the number 5, that is Riccardo Grazia. And another incident, that is back in the chicane. And in the pits is David Nogales, Teo Martin Motorsport, the driver. Both of these drivers were involved in incidents yesterday. And it is a safety car. We are seeing safety car boards being waved now. Yes, it is. The safety car on track down by where Grazia was. Well, a course car at least, the safety car coming out now, but this is halting the race. Nogales has made it back into the pits. Of course, that chicane where Grazia is stalled. It's the last final couple of turns before the pit entry. Hopefully we'll get a replay on that soon. More action at the back again today than necessarily out front. But Solov does lead. You see him in the blue car with the yellow helmet, the Alpine entry, and you see this stricken entry there. I'm actually kind of surprised. Well, I suppose there is more than enough room, but it's a tight fit for all the drivers making their way past the stricken GRS entry. Not been a great week for GRS, it must be said, losing Lucas Malik to COVID. Oh, he is in recovery, and Grazia had quite a significant crash yesterday. It looks like he's lost a front wing there again yesterday, and Ryabov has struggled to kind of make his way up the order. And Ryabov, meanwhile, is 18th here again today. At the moment, he dropped 4 positions on that opening lap. As the drivers, you can see they're weaving around left to right, trying to keep as much heat in the tires as they possibly can. And hopefully we'll be able to see Grazia's car cleared quickly and this race to get underway. We did have a safety car, as mentioned yesterday, for quite a while, mostly down to the fact that it just took quite a long time. There were several incidents, all happened in different parts of the circuit at the same time. And that just meant it took an incredibly long time to get all the JVCs to remove the cars. Graveland, of course, was buried in the gravel. That needed a JVC to move it. But then there was a 3-car incident with some very, very, very damaged cars. Again, close to by where the chicane is, and that also required JVCs. Although Grazia's car, if he's only lost his broken part of his front, we actually might potentially actually been Nogales' front wing that we saw. But in this incident, it looks as if that the tow truck will be able to get Grazia's car out of the chicane. As we see the start once again, Solov leading the way, defending from Kucharczyk, pushed him out wide enough to not give him enough room to make the move. Rinicella holding third well from Kelstrup, while Small and Barter battled hard. I'm actually quite surprised. As we see, there's number 14 of Vinter Puvazak before he went off. Very good job by Small to actually hold Barter back and regain that 5th position. Considering Barter really had very much the inside line going into turn 2. But if you have enough traction, if you have enough speed, you can really keep your foot in and actually ride the curbs on the exit of 2 to catch the inside of turn 3 and regain that position. Fastest lap of this race so far doesn't really mean a whole lot at the moment. It's 2 minutes 4.5 by Lola Lovenfoss. Lovenfoss down in 25th position. As we see, Grazia's machine is being pulled from the track, and hopefully we will be able to get going again soon. 11 minutes plus 1 lap remaining. Again, Solov leads from Kucharczyk, Rinicella, Kelstrup, Small, and then Barter. Charlie Wirtz has gained a position. He started 8th, is currently up into 7th. Philippe Jenik, who started 10th, is currently 8th. Inter Puvazak started 9th, is 9th. The big loser there in the opening few laps is Gail Julian, who dropped from 7th down to 10th. Robert Adahan was 11th, is currently 11th. Bruno Rapino gained a position as well from 12th to 13th. Manuel Espirito Santo, fantastic start, currently 13th, he started 17th. Christian Ho, who was 14th, did start 12th, lost a couple of positions there. The big loser really on the opening lap in terms of positions, Vladislav Ryabov went from 14th, he's currently 18th. Very soon, we will be ready to go once again. If you're wondering, if you're looking at the tower on the left-hand side of your screen, those with the yellow marks are rookies to the Spanish Formula 4 Championship. They do have, some of them do have previous F4 experience, but they're rookies in regards to this championship. As you can see, the safety car has pulled in Nicolas Solov. Closes the field up. And makes a move to restart the race, going through this long left-hander, and has a very, very nice gap to Kucharczyk, who's currently been chased by Valerio Rinacella. And a very, very significant gap out front. And there you have Kelstrup in fourth, and then you get the blue car of Kirill Small, a locked tyre, I think, there from Charlie Wirtz as he aims to close down on Hugh Barter. And that is Jenny trying to go through as well on Wirtz after he locked up. But out front, it matters little to Solov, who's built a very, very nice gap. Actually had almost 1 second of a gap to Kucharczyk as they came across the start-finish line. And on the stretch of the back straight down towards Dreiecksack corner, you can see Solov in the blue, Kucharczyk second, then followed by the orange Rinacella. Locked wheel there from Solov. You do not want to do that. Kelstrup there in fourth place, followed by Small. Solov for the moment has checked out to a degree, but you do not want to be wasting your tyres too much. Robert De Haan lost out on a couple of positions. We see the slide off there, and another locked tyre by Nicolas Solov. You really do not want to be doing that at all. Through the field as they're braking hard down into that long left-hander. The field now coming across the line. Interpuvisak was able to pass Jenik, by the way. Jenik that was slightly off circuit a few moments ago and allowed Interpuvisak through. Oh, and another move, and that is Espirito Santo trying to go through on Bruno Del Pino. Wheel to wheel, and may just have made the move, and if he did, that was fantastic. And currently, Solov not just leading the race, but also the fastest lap. He's got a 1 minute 44.158. He's 1.6 seconds ahead of Kucharczyk, who is beginning to build a little bit of a gap over Rinacella. The gap now 0.6 of a second as Rinacella looking behind from George Kelstrup, who's pressuring Kirill Small there in fifth place. Then you have a trio there of Christian Ho, Zuliman Zanfari, Max Meyer battling over 14th, 15th and 16th positions. Drivers really testing the limits of these circuits. The track temperature, by the way, must be said, is significantly lower than it was yesterday. It's 22 degrees track temperature. So that might go some way to explaining why we're seeing quite a bit of tyre locking or maybe even brake locking, but they should really be up to temperature by now. Really practiced and raced yesterday in temperatures that were far higher than this. Number 25 is Jaff Makils. I think he may have had a little bit of an off. Maksimar Kochelski, by the way, is in the pit lane. And the Campos Racing mechanics thoroughly waiting. Only 5 minutes plus 1 lap of this race remaining. That is the number 7 entry in the pits. Oh, sorry, no, that is Arkanchelski. Sorry, that is the number 1 entry there of Maxim Arkanchelski, and looks like he's been pulled back into the garage. George Kelstrup sitting behind Rinicello, the orange car, in third place. But now we have Kucharczyk still there in second place. Solov continues to lead. The gap is 1.9 seconds. Small still has Barter just behind, who is Charlie Wirtz just behind him, who is Tisanopol Interpupazak just behind him in 8th place. Philippe Jenik is 8th, Robert De Haan 10th. The back end of this circuit. Solov throwing his Campos Racing entry all over the circuit, maintaining speed, but he needs to make sure he doesn't burn through those tires. And there is a temptation, I suppose, for drivers to push a little bit harder in this shorter race, thinking, well, there's 7 minutes less to run in this race, but you probably also have drivers who've maybe run practice laps on these tires, running them in this shorter race. There's a very, very limited number of tires in a race weekend, and it does play into the strategy of your races. And sometimes, and quite often, you have this discussion with drivers. The tires they use, whether fresh or old, will depend entirely on what position they end up actually qualifying in. If you're on pole and you've got a good chance of win, you're probably going to take the fresh tires. We've got a day like today. If you're on pole and you have slightly worn tires, do you go with that and just hope that they hold out? Right now, Solov is pressing his handcuffs very hard, locked him up a few times, and they do not show any sign of giving up at this stage. There is only just under 3 minutes plus 1 lap remaining. The gap he has to Kucharczyk is 2 seconds, 2.1 seconds. I've seen the number 51 of Christian Ho rounding the right-hander. He is still in 14th place. We've had no messages so far that I've been informed of track limits or anything like that, so no warnings especially. So hopefully what we see the finishing order today will stay as is after this event. Not long left for the likes of Small, Kelstrup, Rinicello, etc. to make their way up the order. Kucharczyk has broken free now from Rinicello. The gap between second and third is 1.3 seconds. See the mechanics on the pit wall, giving as much information as the drivers as possible in as short a form as possible. Solov, the gap behind, 2.2 seconds. Kucharczyk still in second place. So another fastest lap by Solov, that time around at 1 minute 43.844. It was Kucharczyk's best lap on his last time around as well, also 1 minute 44.0, as you just saw on screen. Rinicello also at this time of the race setting his fastest lap of the race, 1 minute 44.3, and that really is the difference. The pack from Rinicello back in the kind of early to 1 minute to mid 1 minute 44, as well Solov is in the 143s, undisturbed by any distractions from behind and undisturbed by any blockages up front. And it looks like Solov is going faster still as we see Rinicello. The gap to Kucharczyk is 1.2 seconds, and Rinicello may finally get that third place that he lost out mid-race in Portimao and then lost out at the end of yesterday through a penalty. Kelstrup will be hoping to deny him though. 4th place in the white and black Campos entry. More screeching tires coming into that final corner. Kirill Small, 5th place. This will be a solid result for him if he can maintain this at 1 minute 43.554. Solov decimating this field with his pace at the moment. The gap to Kucharczyk to just up to 3 seconds already. This has been absolutely imperious from Solov, and if he can hold this for just the rest of this lap, he will be the first double winner of the 2022 Spanish Formula 4 Championship season. It's coming down the back straight into the infamous strike sack corner. Kucharczyk 3 seconds behind, then Rinocella, then Kelstrup 7/10 of a second behind Rinocella. I think that fight has really kind of finished. Then Kirill Small 5th, Hugh Barter 6th, and on screen now Charlie Wirtz, who was on the podium yesterday following Rinocella's penalty, finished 4th on the road. Well, he looks like he's going to finish 7th on the road today, unless Tisanopol Intrapuvazak can do anything about that. And Intrapuvazak is pressing and pressing hard, but he's running out of corners. Intrapuvazak was very, very, very good in Portimao, but it's been a bit more of a struggle now as we come to Jerez. He lost the Championship League yesterday. That gap to the front is going to extend after this. I'm afraid there is going to be one more lap for Solov. This is the final lap. The gap to Kucharczyk is 3.6 seconds. Rinocella not quite settled into the podium. He does have Kelstrup right there, keeping a watching brief, but it doesn't seem as if Rinocella is going to make enough of an error on this fastest lap to allow Kelstrup through. Kucharczyk, 2nd place. It'll be his. He's had podiums in every single race so far this season. That looks like it's going to continue into this. It'll be 2 seconds, 2/3, and of course yesterday's race win. But it is Solov who's going to take the plaudits today. Nicholas Solov has looked absolutely untouchable from start to finish. Led supremely and confidently from the start, kept that lead in the first few corners. Then after the safety car period, he maintained that lead. In fact, with the restart, built a 1 second gap, and it's only extended in a lap since then. He takes the race win. And Nicholas Solov becomes the first driver to win 2 races in the 2022 Spanish Formula 4 Championship. Timothy Kucharczyk takes 2nd place ahead of Valerio Rinocella, finally getting that podium, just ahead of George Kelstrup. Kirill Small. Hugh Barter comes home 6th ahead of Charlie Wirtz. Tisanopol Intrapuvazak comes home 8th. And they are the points finishers for this morning's race. Solov will take some solace in this. He has, as I said, he's won 2 races so far this year, but so far both of them have been the shorter races that pay out smaller points, and he'll be really hoping to win out in the big points paying races. We still have another one later on today. But either way, he will be absolutely delighted with that result. The Alpine affiliated driver, spotted to really by Fernando Alonso as a potential star for the future. And once again, he's going to pull into the pit lane and pull into Parc Fermé and park himself right behind the number 1 Ford. Can confirm, at this point at least, provisionally, Solov does have pole position for race 3 later on today, ahead of George Kelstrup, Hugh Barter and Zanfari, who's 4th. Rinnicella. Will be starting 5th on the grid. Kucharczyk well down the order. In 11th. That is then. This is now. The top 3 pull into Park Ferme. Second place man Kucharczyk getting out of his car. His 5th podium so far. And Solov winning for Campos Racing. Celebrating with his mechanics. And making sure it's all nice and tidy too. A little bit of disappointment there in Kucharczyk's posture. He should still be happy. Second place. It is another podium. He may have quite a fight later on today in race 3, but that is then. But we see the overall results now. Nicholas Solov wins the race, 4 seconds ahead of Kucharczyk, and Rinnicella finally getting that podium. George Kelstrup coming home 4th ahead of Kirill Small, Hugh Barter, Charlie Wirtz 7th, Inter Pufazak 8th. They scored the points. Jenik 9th, Robert Hahn 10th. Gail Julian dropped down to 11th ahead of Bruno Del Pino, Manuel Espirito Santo. Christian Ho was 14th, then Zuliman Sanfari 15th, Max Meyer 16th, Sebastian Gravelund, he finished today, but only in 17th ahead of Ricardo Escotto. Vladislav Ryabov dropped to 19th by the flag. Alvaro Garcia came home 20th ahead of Anshul Gandhi. Miran Pengasov climbed his way up to 22nd, while Lola Lovenfoss came home 23rd. Jeff Mackles was the final finisher after he had a collision, we believe, with Maxim Arkanchelski. Mackles coming home 24th. Arkanchelski, Ricardo Grazia, David Nogales, the non-finishers today. As you can see, what an overcast day. The temperature only 22 degrees so far, now 23 on track. It's not quite the heights of the temperatures we saw yesterday. But we are expecting that temperature to go up.
Nicola, congratulations. Very good start, and you had luck with the safety car, and later you have done well in the restart. How was the race?
Yeah, the race was really good. The start was also good. I didn't do the same mistake like yesterday, so it's a good point that I improved. And then, yeah, the safety car restart was also really good. I did it nice, and yeah, just then I kept pushing until the end of the race.
Fantastic rhythm of race. You've broken last year's fastest lap here record here in Jerez, you know?
Yeah, thank you. I didn't know, but it's good that I know now.
Yes, the time of Dilano Van Hoff last year, yeah. You broke this record.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Well, that's a nice little addition. And it was actually quite a very, very fast pace in the end of 1 minute 43.5, as I mentioned. Now, here we have the start. Solov getting away very well from Kucharczyk, defending the inside and then sliding over to defend the outside line as well. Rinnicella just ahead, while Kelstrup was ahead of the small Barter. Battle over 5th and 6th. It looked like Barter had the inside, but Small re-won it. Later on in the lap, Inter Pufazak had a disappointing qualifying, made a few places on that start, but actually went off later on to drop him down a few more spots. We saw lots of tyre smoke in this race. And that was Philippe Jenik going wide, allowing Inter Pufazak to go through. Lots of little fights through the field. And as Solov pulled away, so the focus looked further out down the order. But Solov really, for the most part, looked untouchable. Kucharczyk had to fight off Rinnicella for a while, but then broke that battle up. Well, Rinnicella fought Kelstrup to the flag, but it mattered little to those out front. Through the field, you see Kirill Small. Had a race-long fight with Barter, never really shook him off, and at the end they were only separated by half a second. Kucharczyk had a very, very good drive today as well. Kaelstrup ran fourth for the distance, but could do nothing to break past Rinicella. Charlie Wirtz had a solid drive today, started 8th, came home 7th to add to the podium he scored yesterday. But it was Solov who came home to take the race win, 4 seconds ahead of Kucharczyk. There's a rookie 1-2 in this race, Rinicella coming home 3rd. And the congratulations in Parc Ferme, very, very much deserved. Now we wait for the podium for race 2. Rookie podium and the overall podium the winner for both is going to be the same, Solov. In terms of the rookie standings, by the way, I haven't actually worked it out yet, but Kucharczyk and Solov have won all of the rookie events so far this year. As we look out to Jerez, and the mechanics waiting to get sprayed by, I have absolutely no idea whatsoever what it is they have on the podium in Spanish Formula 4. I really need to find that out. That's Rinicella on the podium. And we should see a representative for Campos Racing on the podium now as well. And a clearly delighted top 3 receiving their trophies for this morning's short race. We will, of course, have the longer race later on today, live again on the Spanish Formula 4 YouTube channel. The final race for today will be going live from around about 1:40 UK time, 2:40 Europe. There's race 3. That'll be 25 minutes plus 1 lap. And now the national anthem for race winner Nicholas Solov. Well, if nothing else, this has been an education. Up until a few weeks ago, I'd never heard the Bulgarian national anthem. But that's twice now for Nicholas Solov. What I can tell you is the drivers get ready for their celebrations, take the photographs and spray whatever it is, it's in the bottles. Leading the standings at the moment is still Timotheus Kucharczyk on 79 points. Solov jumps up from third to second in the standings with 66 points. He got the win plus the point for fastest lap. Third in the standings is now Tisanopol Interpuvzak. He picked up a point in the end for finishing 8th place. Hugh Barter still 4th with 50 points. He'll be hoping for a big result later on today to bridge the gap that has kind of grown in the last couple of races. And then it's a big dip from Barter down to 5th place, which is Filip Jenik. But Rinacella now 6th in the standings, and Zulimans and Fowry 7th. That's 30, 29, and 28 points, respectively. As we look out to Jerez, what has been a fairly entertaining race this morning. We're hoping for more later on this afternoon. Remember, tune in. About 1:40 UK, 2:40 Europe. It's going to be Solov on pole again from George Kelstrup, Hugh Barter, and Zulimans and Fowry. And with Kacharczyk further down the order, it promises to be an exciting event to round out the weekend. Thanks again for watching Spanish Formula 4. My name is Leo Gorman, and I will talk to you later on today.